Coming up on today's Locked On Senators, it's our final dev camp interview. We have 2021 first-round pick, Tyler Boucher.
And the Leafs and Ilya Samsonov have settled a deal in arbitration. But of course, the question everyone's asking, how does this affect the Ottawa Senators?
We'll find out soon, have that discussion, and Brady Tkachuk has found his forever line mate. All that's coming up on today's edition of the Locked On Senators podcast. It's your team every day.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
I'm Jake Sanderson, and you're listening to Locked On Senators podcast.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Welcome inside episode 846 of the Locked On Senators podcast. I'm Ross Levitan on the outskirts of enemy territory in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains, we are free and available wherever you download your podcast. Also on YouTube, where the road to 6,000 is already here. Now the road to 10,000 continues. Today is Monday, July 24th, and Pilsy, still no news. It's eerily quiet on the front for RFAs Shane Pinto and Igor Sokolov. Are you worried at all yet?
No, I'm not worried. I mean, I'm very confident both these deals are going to get done. I think, like we talked about last year, the little bit of news from Leafland with Ilya Samsonov settling his arbitration deal with the Leafs. I just went on Cap Friendly, Ross, and the Leafs are $12 million over the salary cap. So they're going to have to do something, and that something is likely going to be, or hopefully, a Matt Murray buyout, which would save the Sens some money. And then once the Sens know whether they're going to save money on the Matt Murray buyout or not, I think that's when they're going to start looking at different ways they can rearrange, or not rearrange, but arrange their roster and what kind of deals they can give to Shane Pinto and Igor Sokolov and how much money they'll have left over to possibly spend on potential UFAs.
That's the other eerie part of this, is that there's just been no free agent movement over the last week or so, right? Like we knew Vladimir Tarasenko changed agents, and we thought that was going to kind of, get a bit of a rush on him signing. We know Thomas Tatar hasn't been able to find a contract yet either. There's a few other names on the free agent market. One thing we do know, though, is that the Senators will be a cap team next year. And right now they have $5.03 million to spend. If Matt Murray was to be bought out, we will find out between Wednesday and Friday. The buyout window opens. Ilya Samsonov, they just split the difference for Ilya Samsonov's contract. I don't think that was much of a surprise to anyone, where he came in high, Leafs came in low, and they said, you know what? Let's just meet you in the middle, $3.55 million. So that opens the second buyout window where anyone who's making over $4 million on their cap can get bought out, and that's Matt Murray. And it just kind of feels natural that when you bring in a goalie at that price, the other goalie's kind of the guy who's out, when reliability had been a factor for Matt Murray with the Toronto Maple Leafs. But if he is bought out, that's $1.3 million extra. Pilsy, $6.3 million in cap space certainly has a bit more, leniency or flexibility than what they have right now. It basically, pays for a full contract of a bottom six guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can easily get Pinto in there, and then you could probably get one more guy. I think, Ross, what we'll end up seeing is the Pinto and Sokolov contracts will get cleaned up. And then similar to, and I'm not saying this type of player, but this style of deal, like Tyler Mott last year, right? Like free agency is basically almost done. And it's just a player and his agent being like, well, we got to get you playing somewhere. So let's take a 1-year deal and let's go with that. So I think that's something we could see is later on in the offseason, after the RFAs are cleaned up, just a 1-year deal with another forward happens.
Well, that was right before training camp. Tyler Mott signed September 14th. So are you thinking maybe it's a September situation where, hey, maybe we even see a guy come in on a PTO like Derek Brassard did last year? But I don't know if they necessarily need that this year, because they will have fair competition in camp just the way it is with, the McEwens of the world, the Yuri Smekals of the world making up some spots at training camp. And then you have the prospects pushing, the Igors, the Tyler Bouchers, who we're going to get into before our conversation with him, and then Roby Yarventi at some point the second pick of the second round, you should be seeing some NHL games. But again, you got to pump the brakes with it's just, the contract trust between Järventie and Sokolov, same draft, same round, but Igor is like almost 3 full years older than him at the time they were drafted. So there is a bit of flexibility there with Järventie, but I'm excited, man. Even a guy like Matthew Highmore could be a guy who comes in. He's got a ton of NHL games, almost 200 under his belt. So there will be plenty of competition, but we're just hoping more so for a guy who could come in and kind of lock down a spot, right? I don't know if I'm interested in just having like a borderline NHLer come in, because I feel like they do have a lot of those guys right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not saying that's what I'm hoping happens. I'm just saying that's the type of deal we could happen, even if it's with a Tatar or Tarasenko, just a 1-year deal at, a bit of a discount price, just because they're like, hey, we're not going to sit out the season and no one signed us. So maybe that's something that ends up happening.
Oh, well, whenever anything does happen, you'll be able to find us with new videos, new reactions on YouTube at Sens Central on Twitter, LockedOn.Senators on Instagram. Of course, the show is Locked On Senators. We are in summer hibernation, which means 3 episodes a week, more than you'll get from anywhere else in the Senators sphere. And we want to make sure that interview season continues on a strong note. We hope you've enjoyed all 8 interviews from Sens Dev Camp, from Pierre Dorion to Dave Bell. Great stories out of Dave Bell. And then, we've brought you all sorts of players, from Philip Nordberg and Oscar Pettersson, Hoyt Stanley, Tyler Klevin. I am already starting to run out of names, Pillsy. Help me out here.
Tyler Boucher on today's episode.
Of course. No, but I feel like I'm missing someone still. Or am I not?
Tyler Klevin,
of course. Well, I think that this week, I think it's fair to say that we are going to have the 2 players who were as close to NHL ready as we've seen from anybody at Dev Camp. Today is Tyler Boucher. Friday, Stephen Halliday, the disher himself. I'm not even going to say it's crazy. And I know our guy Nick Spence mentioned on Twitter, like, this guy could be in the Hobie Baker conversation next year with the numbers he put up last season and where he was among his peers, the Fantillis of the world. That these were the only guys who had more assists than him and Logan Cooley, who was 2nd overall in the 2022 draft. So that to me is pretty interesting. And we're excited to chat with Stephen Halliday Friday. But yeah, those 2 are buzzing at Dev Camp.
Oh yeah. I mean, Tyler Boucher's release was the one thing I noticed from him. Like, that shot was getting off his stick and it was coming in hot. And like, if he missed the net, the sound of the puck hitting the boards was like thunder. Like, he was absolutely ripping it. And then Stephen Halliday just looked like, I don't know how to word this properly, but he looked like a guy that is kind of showing he doesn't need to be there. Like, he was a cut above the rest, and it was obvious.
Yes, and well, you just have to listen to every single interview we did, including what you're about to hear with Tyler Boucher. Which is one player who's impressed you at Dev Camp? Stephen Halliday. Sick hands. There's a reason why he's been able to put up points at every level. And so we're excited to chat with him. But with Tyler Boucher, man, 1st-year pro coming up for him, and I'm really intrigued. I think this is probably one of the more underrated storylines, because I think a lot of Senators fans have just been like, hey, if it works out, cool. But obviously the injuries have been a factor and not being able to play enough games. The pick was seen as a reach at the time. But, man, I think with a solid start to the season, man, he could really turn some heads playing either in Belleville or in Ottawa.
And he's their last 1st-round draft pick in years. Like, no 1st-rounder last year. The other 1st-rounder went in the DeBrincat deal, and then before that, it was Tyler Boucher. So definitely an interesting year for him. And you know what? I hope he spends a good chunk of the season in Belleville, not because I don't want him in Ottawa. That's not what I'm saying. Just because I think if he can get consistent playing time, this year for me is about nothing more than consistent playing time for Boucher. I don't care where he's playing. I just need to see him in games and have an understanding of his role so he can start building on things in his pro career.
Very well said. With that, let's get to our interview with Tyler Boucher, his 4th time on Locked On Senators. We're big fans of the player, the person as well. So we're excited to bring this one to you. A lot of laughs and TikTok cooking. Is that what's on the menu in the Boucher household? All that and more next. You're listening to Locked On Senators.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Athletic Greens, guys. Summer is here. Ross has the AG1 going. I got the AG1 going. It's summer. Ross has been doing everything he can so he can fit into his wedding suit. And
I thought you were going to say wedding dress.
No. The suits are going to look sharp. I just picked my suit up too, so I'm on the AG1 kick as well, so I can look almost as good as Ross on his big day. But if you're trying to lose some pounds, whether it's wedding season, beach season, you want to just incorporate a better, healthier lifestyle, the best way to do that, and the simplest way, is with one delicious scoop of AG1 in your glass of water every morning, because with that, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and more, so you can start your day off right. And this special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, aging, and it's lifestyle friendly. AG1 contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while still tasting great. So right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance from Athletic Greens.
Today's episode is also brought to you by one of our favorite places to go, especially in the summer. It's Farm to Fork. Farm to Fork meats, farmtoforkdelivery.ca, and use promo code SENS10 for 10% off your first purchase. Go check out their website. I'm on it right now. Farm2 with the number 2, farmtoforkdelivery.ca. I'm looking at the summer steak bundles, 30 steaks for less than $10 per steak when you use Sens 10. That is a kicker of a deal. And the best part is that they're raised hormone-free, antibiotic-free. There's a reason why we say that you'll never go back to grocery store meats when you come to Farm to Fork. They're also vacuum sealed, frozen, right off the butcher's block. So when you open up your freezer, you can just pull out the amount of meat that you want that day. You have to check out all the great bundles, all the great deals, and they will deliver right to you anywhere in Ontario, most of Quebec. Just type in your zip code on farmtoforkdelivery.ca and you can get delivered right to your door at Farm to Fork. It's a local Ottawa company, so make sure you're supporting them. Farmtoforkdelivery.ca, promo code SENS10. SENS10 gets you 10% off at farmtoforkdelivery.ca. Taste the Farm to Fork difference. You will never go back to grocery store meats. All right, now let's get to today's interview with Senators first round pick. Here is Tyler Boucher. All right, now very pleased to be joined by a 4-time recurring guest. 4th time on Locked On Senators for Sens first round pick, Tyler Boucher. Tyler, welcome back, man. How you doing?
Doing good. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, likewise, man. So you're back on the ice now. What's been the rehab process? You've been out since World Juniors, and that was a tough injury, man. You're playing so well in the tournament too, a couple goals, and then so how's the rehab? Just take us through all that.
Yeah, obviously it was tough, but I mean it's going great. I think I'm ahead of schedule and excited for next year.
Yeah, now you've been in Ottawa for quite a while now. It's awesome getting to play for the 67s and being in the town of where you're drafted. Is Ottawa starting to feel a little bit like home for you now?
100%. I mean, at the start, I was a little shaky on it. I'll be honest with you. It was new coming up to Canada.
Yeah.
Grown to have a soft spot for Ottawa. I spent a lot of time here. Been here all summer, last summer. So, I love it. People are great, and it's a great city to play.
Last time he gave us the most determined answer. He's like, you know what? I just come to the rink, I work, I go home. But now you have to have had some time to explore the city. Is there anything that stands out around town, whether it's, up in the Gatineau or a restaurant that you like that makes you feel like you're a part of the community?
I mean, there's a lot going on. I can't really pick one. I mean,
well, you take in a football game every now and again.
True, yeah. So I had the Red Blacks game there the other day. For me, I'm a big dinner guy. I like the food spots to eat. So that's kind of what I do. I've been kind of searching for that. Just different spots all around Ottawa, kind of exploring. I don't know. Big one. I like Nordique Spa. But
there you go. Good call. Take the girl up there too. Yeah, have to. Are you still cooking at home though? Because you're bragging about your steaks last time we had you on.
Oh yeah, still great. Yeah, improving. Yep.
There you go. I mean, it's an acquired skill getting that steak just right. So nothing wrong with
well, Pillsy posts his steaks on Instagram, but he does in black and white. He says it's cooked perfect, right?
I get the TikTok reels or whatever going, and they have like the 30-second cooking videos, and that's how I learned.
There you go.
That's awesome.
TikTok cooking recipes. How's Dev Camp been so far? You get a chance to meet some of the new players?
Yeah, day one. Yesterday was exciting. Everyone coming in, being at the hotel. We went to some of the guys who grabbed dinner at Joey's yesterday, but I think the first day, obviously, everyone's a little shy, a little awkward, but once you get to know everybody, all hockey players, pretty much the same.
Oh yeah.
So share some stories and have some laughs.
You've been here a couple times now. So are you kind of helping out with the younger guys like the Hoyt Stanleys of the world and the guys who just got drafted, kind of get their feet wet here?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I didn't skate yesterday, so I'm a little bit out of the group a little bit. Can't, no contact, but yeah, I am an older guy, I guess you could say now, and I think it's my job to be a leader here. That's what I'll try to do.
Now, what's been your main focus for the off season? I know you're still kind of rehabbing the shoulder. So is there different parts of your game you're working on, like maybe looking at film more or something like that?
Yeah, I watch film. I think obviously getting, strength in my shoulder back, stuff like that. I have an unbelievable support group here. Like these guys they're unbelievable. They take care of me like above and beyond. From strength coaches to, athletic trainers to Pierre to Trent, like they're amazing. So that's why I'm here. That's why I stay here. I believe in what their plan is, and I'll do anything to get there.
Awesome.
Let's talk about your dad for a second.
Okay.
Guy was on a mission in the playoffs. Like, is his schedule like crazier than he was even when he was playing, moving all over the place?
Yeah, it's nuts. Like, I don't know if a lot of people understand that job. It's a lot of homework. Like, he studies very, very
he knows
hard.
the stuff.
Yeah, like I think if I got up there, I'd be stuttering. I wouldn't. I'd be terrible. It's a hard job. It looks harder than it is on TV. But yeah, I mean, travel left and right. He's flying everywhere. I don't even know where he is sometimes. So I'll give him a call. He's like, I'm in Vegas. I'm like,
right.
Okay. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome to see him calling the games. I think he does a great job. Obviously, goalie friendly show. We love kind of what the perspective that he brings in. But last year, he was in the Hall of Fame game. Came down to work out with you a little bit. Did you humble him a little bit when you were out there with him?
I think he got humbled at the All-Star game. He got a sunburn there.
I'd say.
No, I'm kidding. It was nice. It was cool though. I haven't done that in a couple of years with him, so it's pretty special for him to throw the pads on. I get to rip some bucks on him, just like the old times. So.
Did mom tell you to keep him down?
Well, he was like, I was starting off like throwing muffins. He was like,
yeah,
you can rip it. So
give him some soft ones, get his confidence up.
And then I wired one at his collarbone, and he was like all mad at me. But
so it's like Joe Thornton did to you, right?
Yeah. Far down.
That's just it. So is there any player here, and I know you weren't on the ice yesterday, but that you're excited to kind of watch their development kind of alongside you?
I mean, sure, everybody. I think Stevie Holiday's decided to come up here. He's here for a couple weeks.
Is he actually 6'4", 215? That's what they listed him at.
He looks like he's big, big boy. Yeah, so I mean, working out with him, Soko's here now, Jorian. So I think obviously we all have the same goal in mind. So it's it's nice to push each other every day and be around guys who care as much as you do.
Are there still guys from out of town or from other teams that are skating with you guys as well? I know Carl stops by the Sensplex time in the summer as well. There's a small group right now, and then they kind of add on come August.
Yeah, I think it's like more so later on. Obviously, like you see G around the rink, but he lives here. But,
nice.
Yeah, I think more towards August we had more of those bigger pro skates kind of ramping up towards training camp. So.
That's pretty cool, though, eh? We brought it up before he even played here because obviously the Philadelphia connection with you growing up while your dad played for the Flyers. And then we saw when G signed here, there was that video. You guys happened to run into each other. So just kind of cool, and it just shows how kind of small world the NHL and hockey is in total, eh?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the hockey world's so small. Like, everybody knows each other. Everybody knows a guy that knows somebody. So, yeah, I mean, growing up, I obviously was a big Flyers fan. G and Danny Breer were my guys in the playoffs. They always showed up. Like Mike Richards, Jeff Carter. I could name off a million guys from that team, but they were a special team to watch.
Definitely.
yeah, it's crazy that I'm here and he's here at the same time. So hopefully I have a chance to play with him.
Final question for me, and I mean Ridley Gregg said the same thing too. He's like, "Yeah, I love G," and then all of a sudden he assists on his first NHL goal. Like, that's pretty sick, eh? And I know you lived with Ridley last summer as well. You told us it was like 5 protein shakes a day, trying to put on some weight. But hey, how cool is that seeing him kind of make his jump to the NHL?
Yeah, it was awesome. Obviously training with him that summer, and he's just a great guy. You know what I mean? Like really down to earth. He works his ass off. I think he deserves everything he gets. So he's gonna be a big time player, and I'm really happy for him. And obviously Jake too had a great year, and 2 great guys that kind of take me under their wing. And
snub for the Calder, eh?
Oh yeah, come on,
big time snub. Final question for me, and thanks for your time, Tyler. This has been awesome. We talked about the off season a little bit, but for the season, what are some goals that you have for this upcoming season?
I mean, yeah, it's my first year pro, which I've been looking forward to for a long time. So. For me, it's about having a big summer and trying to make the team. That's my goal. If I have to go to Belleville, sure. It's not going to change my mindset. I'm excited to play there too, wherever I may be. So I'm going to work hard, and that's about it.
We know your second father. We talked about Brian Boucher, Liam's Martian. You got any questions for Tyler? Okay, all right, Tyler. Really appreciate your time, man, and best of luck this summer. And we're excited to watch you make the jump next year to pro hockey.
Awesome, thanks, guys.
Awesome, man. That's great, dude. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Stick taps to Tyler for joining us. Really fun conversation. Great kid, good head on his shoulders, and I'm really looking forward to what he's going to bring to the table next season. Coming up, we're going to get into a little Brady Tkachuk talk. The tables at the wedding got a whole lot of play, so we'll touch on that right after a quick word. You're listening to Locked On Senators.
Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends over at the Glebe Central Pub, the GCP. We love our friends over at the Glebe Central Pub, Ross. That's where we're going when we're hitting downtown Ottawa, when we're going out for drinks, when we're trying to get some food after we've had Shawarma Palace, after we've had a Sens game. The shuttle is coming back this season. I'm so excited for that. Anywhere you want to get your Glebe Central Pub, you got to go to 779 Bank Street. That's where they're located at. Ross, you've got all the specials that are happening coming up here. You want to read off some of those for our listeners?
Well, I always just go on Instagram, Glebe Central Pub on Instagram. They always let you know all sorts of live music, all sorts of trivia nights. There's never a dull day at the Glebe Central Pub. So make sure you're following them there and head over to 779 Bank Street and make sure you let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. Visit them at 779 Bank Street, right in the heart of the Glebe. Go check them out. It's the Glebe Central Pub. All right, Pillsy, final segment today's show. Really appreciative of Tyler Boucher for joining us as well. Talking weddings, talking in the ad with AG1. Your
wedding season. Whew.
It really is. Did Brady Tkachuk have every single person who he's ever played with at the Ottawa Senators invited to the wedding? I mean, even just the overall numbers, I want to say there was over 200 people there celebrating with them, and who wouldn't want to be there? But I thought this one table was hilarious. It was all the former Senators at one table. It was Alex DeBrincat. It was interesting seeing him there with his wife. Mark Stone was at that table. Dylan Gambrell was at that table, and so was Chris Tierney.
Yeah, Alex DeBrincat at this wedding must have been interesting. Like we've mentioned, I honestly don't think there's any hard feelings between the players. It's part of the business, and DeBrincat never said he was sticking around, so they kind of thought this might happen. But the vibes would be a little different, that's for sure. I know which table I'm looking at that I wish I was sitting at for sure, though. I went over all of them.
Which one?
It's the easy answer for me. It's got to be table 8. I mean, table 8 is absolutely stacked. They got Josh Norris, Quinn Hughes, Luke Hughes, Jack Hughes, Jake Sanderson, Shane Pinto, Casey Fitzgerald, and Christian Fisher. I mean, that's a table where it's all the boys, all the hockey players, none of the plus ones at that table, just a lot of good American players there. So that'd be a blast to be at that table.
Well, I don't know if you saw, but there was a Twitter account that put together, they put together a lineup sheet, premature line combos of all the players at Brady Tkachuk's wedding, and it's big head hockey. But I mean, he didn't even put Brady on the list. I mean, Brady would want to get in the mix too, no? But
you would think.
just quickly, I'll read it off because it is hilarious. I would obviously do things a little different. I'm not putting Timmy at left wing on the second line. He's playing top line center on my team. But yeah, it was Matthew Tkachuk, Jack Hughes, Mark Stone, Tim Stützle, Robert Thomas, Alex DeBrincat, Shane Pinto, Josh Norris, Dylan Gambrell, Parker Kelly, Christian Fisher, Ryan Donato, Mark Kastelik up front. And then this decor might be like one of the best in the NHL. Quinn Hughes with Jacob Chikrin, Jake Sanderson with Thomas Chabot, Nick Holden with Luke Hughes, and then the Sens old goalies. I should mention Nick Holden and Cam Talbot were also at that former Sens table. You got Keith Tkachuk, Tom Fitzgerald there. There's also a former Heisman winner who is there apparently. Obviously, just two hockey families. Even Emma Tkachuk, now we can say, her family's all hockey all the time. John Ferricini was the captain at Harvard last year. So anyways, kind of cool that Brady Tkachuk's tied the knot. A lot of good photos coming out of that one. So I was shedding a tear or two as well. So congratulations to both them. We're going to see man strength now from Brady Tkachuk next season.
Man, Ross, that would have been an elite party. Like all the boys love getting after it and getting the karaoke going. So the night of that wedding must have been absolutely off the chains.
Yeah, I don't regret not being there for the morning after, though. Right?
Yes.
When you're feeling it, get the AG1 going for sure. But any final thoughts on today's show, Pilsy?
Final thoughts for me is thanks to everyone that followed along with our Dev Camp interviews with Tyler Boucher in today's episode. That was the final one of the Dev Camp interviews. That was something kind of, I don't want to say out of our comfort zone because we were comfortable and had fun doing that, but setting that up, doing the car wash of all the interviews and just going through it all was a very different experience for us. And it was a lot of fun. And we've had a lot of people with kind words and kind reviews for how those interviews went. So we appreciate that. And this is something I can see us doing every off season at Dev Camp. So fired up for the first annual Dev Camp car wash.
Yeah, well, maybe we could sneak our way in before the regular season and get some of the big fellas on.
That'd be even better.
So we're working on it. Big things coming here. No particular announcements per se, but we are working on a few things that we are really excited to bring to you here as season 5 will get underway of Locked On Senators. The biggest, the best yet. And will we finally get to cover our first ever playoff game?
Oh, please.
Who knows? Who knows? But for today, we say goodbye. We got a Sens Central Citizen coming on Wednesday. Really looking forward to bringing you that conversation and a whole lot more. But for Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan, and this has been the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.